Good morning on this Friday, the 13th. I'm hoping you're well because sadly, our country isn't. Right now, we are at the highest levels since this pandemic began here 8 months ago, and it doesn't look like things are going to improve soon. In fact, Dr. Sanjay Gupta said we are in the midst of a humanitarian crisis, and the only way to get a handle on it is for everyone to wear a mask and to avoid gatherings. A really hard thing to do with Thanksgiving and Christmas right around the corner. And I've started finding myself for the first time feeling a bit down. Thinking of all that is not going to happen, all the plans that won't materialize, all the things I will miss doing, things I loved and so looked forward to this time of year. And I got so sad because I won't be able to gather with all of my family. And I know all of you are probably feeling the same sorts of things too as this holiday season approaches. And so I've been wondering, what can I do to turn this around? What can I do to avoid being sucked down this dangerous rabbit hole? How can I not allow all of this to bring me down? Because it's so easy to go there. And once there, not so easy to get out. Well, Mick and I decided to decorate the house for Christmas. Last week when the weather was nice, we took everything out and did the outside of the house. Actually, one of the decorations are these giant metal letters that I got this year that spell out joy hanging on the front porch. Truth is, I bought them online thinking they were much smaller, and when they arrived, I couldn't believe how big they were, and the only place to put them was on the porch. Anyway, I guess they were meant to go there because on Saturday night, Mick said, oh, let's just plug in the lights and see how it looks. And when we did, the kids said, oh, leave them on for a while. And that's what we did. And the next morning, I got a text from my neighbor saying how nice the house looked and how that put them in the Christmas spirit. And I told her that, we did it mostly because we took advantage of the weather, but we also felt like we needed more joy right now. And in fact, there's never a time we don't, right? And guess what? The next day, I looked out the window to see their house all decorated for Christmas too. And then after them, our other neighbor did the same. We were spreading joy, at least on Hearthstone Drive. And it felt good. Funny thing is, since then, as I walk, I notice more and more folks doing the same thing. And you know what? We need to. Because the truth is, everywhere you turn today, there is someone or something trying to steal your joy. But I want to remind you of Jesus' final prayer before his arrest and crucifixion, when he was feeling about as down as anyone could. He said, I've loved you, even as the Father has loved me. Remain in my love. When you obey my commandments, you remain in my love, just as I obey my Father's commandments and remain in his love. I've told you these things so that you will be filled with my joy. Yes, your joy will overflow. And the commands that he wanted us to obey were to love God and everyone else. Jesus prayed that his disciples would know the depth of his love for them because they'd need to cling to that when the worst was happening. But even though it was going to be hard, he also wanted them to be able to experience the full measure of his joy right that moment, starting right then. And actually, that prayer was for us too. He prayed for us to have his joy in the middle of rush hour traffic, screaming kids, nasty people, the coronavirus, and a darkening, divided, angry world. See, he doesn't want us to wait for heaven to be full of joy. He wants us to have it now. But we have to work for it and fight for it, to choose it. In fact, Paul said to the Corinthians, we work with you for your joy. This means trusting and believing that God is actively working for our good, even in the midst of painful circumstances. That God is for us all, and that he wants us to succeed and be happy. And you know what? If I can't rejoice and be glad today, I'll never rejoice and be glad. Because if I wait until life gets better or I feel better, I'll spend my life waiting rather than living and loving and just being glad and letting Christ fill me with his joy. Because the thing is, the joys of life are found in and among life, period. In the good times, oh, for sure, but also in the frustrations, disappointments, pain, and suffering. And what I'm discovering is that no matter what we are facing, as we trust God, love others, we find the ability to grasp that inner gladness because it's rooted not in our circumstances, but in the God who transcends our circumstances, who loves us unconditionally and promises to always be near us, to help us and comfort us, even in the worst of times. Maybe like now. And that not only helps me with finding the joy, it fills me with hope that you and we're going to be okay because God is on our side. So, my advice, if you need a pick-me-up today, don't wait any longer. Hang up those decorations, put on some Christmas music and dance. Light the Christmas tree. Find what brings you joy and choose to be filled with it. Because that's what Jesus prayed for. It's what he wanted for you and me. And let's keep on loving each other because we are all part of this world and we are the only ones who can make it better. Now, please, please keep on wearing your mask, washing your hands, and staying safe. Know that I am praying for you and I love you. And don't ever, ever lose hope. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon. Peace.